From TSSZ News headquarters to around the world at Sonic Speed, this is the final. I'm Tristan Oliver. There we are. Tonight, may the forces be with you. After a flurry of fan and professional opinion, it's still uncertain where Sonic Forces will fall in fandom folklore. Not a gem and not a disaster in the eyes of many. We'll revisit launch night and share what may be next to bring Sonic back on track. And amid the attention on its console version, there's another Sonic game that you may not know much about, and that is Sonic Forces Speed Battle. It's receiving much better critical reception, and it's currently one of the top adventure games on iOS. We'll speak to the game's producer, Andrew McMillan, about how different it is developing for mobile and how HARDlight's first direct companion title came together. Good evening. First, the console version of Forces sits at a 58 Metacritic rating that puts it about on par with the scores of recent releases Sonic Boom, Fire and Ice and Sonic Lost World. Now, current sales data suggest Forces is currently the 9th best-selling Switch title, and on PC, Steam Spy indicates over 14,000 people have purchased the game so far. Forces shipped on PC with the controversial De Novo digital rights management system. Some pointed to that being the reason players couldn't advance past an early mission on the platform at first. Sega quickly issued a patch to fix the problem. So, what now? It's not necessarily Forces that's the issue. In fact, with the exception of Sonic Mania, the last several major Sonic releases have been met with mediocre reception. As we look back to our launch special from Monday night, Lou and Noah talk about what it will take to bring back Sonic, and in particular 3D Sonic, back to prominence.
What if modern Sonic was taken, like 3D Sonic, taken out of Sonic Team's hands and placed in someone else's? Not necessarily Mania's devs, because that's a totally different beast, but someone else's. Not like Big Red Button, but someone competent who could do something good with the property, freeing Sonic Team up to work on other IP and games that maybe they're more interested in. How would that go? Is that an idea worth considering? I said yes, just because, well, a couple reasons. Maybe if Noah has thoughts on this, I'll let him give them first.
Here's the thing. Sometimes I get the vibe that Sonic Team kind of like, I don't know, as an artist, you kind of don't always want to do the same thing over and over, and you kind of want to be able to do other stuff. And sometimes I get the feeling that Sonic Team, they have to make another Sonic game, but they're so like, you know, what if we did this? Like, it was very clear that in 2008 they wanted to make a beat-em-up, God of War style, so they gave us the Werehog, you know? It's like, I think, you look at, like, I think a good example is, Christopher Nolan did Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, 3 Batman movies. But if you notice, he didn't do all 3 of them in a row. He did another movie in between each of them. He did, you know, I think, was it Inception, The Prestige. The Prestige was in there. And then, and I'm missing one, but
that's exactly right. I think you get fatigued if you have to work on one property or one idea for too long a period of time, no matter who you are. A good example.
And to be honest,
go ahead.
I think they have some good ideas that just want to be expressed, and they're kind of limited by Sonic. Like, I had lots of fun with Billy Hatcher, and I think the game definitely had its problems, but I want to see that revisited. That needs some more love, you know? Think about how positive Knights is, and they tried to make another Knights game, but they had to hurry up and finish it real quick because they had to get back to working on another Sonic game.
That always seems to happen to Sonic Team for some reason. Hurry up and get the next
so I'm like, just dude, let them be free. Let them go do whatever.
So just imagine, what if all of the prowess and talent at Sonic Team, of which there was a lot of genuine talent at that studio, do not get me wrong. What if they were completely unshackled for 2 to 3 years to make whatever game they wanted? A new Knights, a new Billy had a totally new IP, something they've been dreaming of for like 10 years and can't work on because like Sonic 85,000,001 has to come out.
Because they've got ideas. Just they're creative people. They're artists, and any artist has ideas just popping around his head. He's staying up late at night thinking about, oh, dude, what if there was a game like this? I know they've got some of those. I'd like to see those realized.
It was
I'm
sort
sure
of
they
like
would.
one close parallel I can draw is Bungie, the development studio Bungie. They made several Halo games from Halo 1 through Halo Reach, and by the end of it, especially with Halo Reach, you could start to feel that there's a little bit of fatigue settling in, like they're not as into it as they used to be, and the product overall sort of suffers for that reason. I personally think Halo Reach is one of the weaker Halos, but that's not the topic of this discussion. Bungie was then freed up to work on something they had been working on for a long time and thinking about called Destiny. And Destiny had its own problems near release, but just the fact that they were able to work on something new that they had been dreaming of for so long invigorated that development team to levels they hadn't seen in years and years because it was something new and fresh and exciting, and they were passionate about it again.
Naughty Dog,
I'd imagine. Naughty Dog.
They gave up. They passed on Crash Bandicoot to whoever the heck else wanted to take it, so they could do Jak and Daxter, and then later Uncharted, for crying out loud.
And there
imagine if
those now.
Yeah, imagine if we never got Uncharted because Naughty Dog just had to keep making a Bandicoot game over and over.
Yeah.
Like, how sad would that be? Just think about that. What if Sonic Team has an Uncharted somewhere deep down in them?
I have no doubt that given, the proper resources, the proper time, and the proper creative freedom, Sonic Team could crank out something ridiculously cool. But you gotta give them the chance to do it. I don't know what happened with Forces to get it to the state that it's in. I imagine that it did come from a place where a lot of people on the team were really passionate about it, and they wanted to make something ridiculously awesome. No one goes into a project, with the idea of, this one's gonna suck, let's go from day one. No. People are jazzed about it. You want to make a good product no matter what you're working on. I don't know what happened with Forces. We shall see. But that's, and then that, on the other hand, then frees up the Sonic IP for someone else to come in and give their own take on it. Sort of, and again, it could be referential and reverent toward what already is here in terms of 3D Sonic. Look at what happened with Mania. A bunch of hardcore fans pretty much just kind of extending what was going on with the classic games, and boom, it's ridiculous and a lot of people love it. I don't know that you could apply the same design philosophy to 3D Sonic because that's a much more involved endeavor and you need a much bigger team and blah blah blah, but you get the idea. You can put it in someone else's hands that you trust and has a cool idea of what to do with the IP and let it bloom, because now all of a sudden, oh my god, we're working on a Sonic game. We've never done this before, and that new passion is there.
Yeah, bring new life, get J.J. Abrams in there, because George Lucas is off his rocker. You know what I mean? Like, the new Star Wars. Star Wars all have a bunch of new life in it right now. That's why Star Wars is freaking better than it's been in a long time.
Yeah, and they have the core, executive level creative staff is all the same on the Star Wars movies, but they have different production staffs coming in working on each one, and that gives it the fresh flavor from, preventing it from being...
And they're all fans.
Yeah, and they're all fans.
Every one of those people that's directing one of these new Star Wars movies has, dreamed of this thing. You know what I mean?
And there's always, what's...
And you can see that.
He says no one really
Talking about
cares
Puyo
about non-Sonic Sonic Team titles. To some degree, I guess that's true, but you never know until you try. I guess, you might say, no one cares about, I don't know, when, Pikmin first came out, you could be like, oh, no one wants to play a game about, throwing plant guys at stuff, and then, we're on our third Pikmin game already. So you never know.
Yeah.
The only way to figure that out is to give it a shot, and maybe, Sega management isn't comfortable with that. I don't know what the deal is, and, it's also possible that maybe Sonic Team is making the games they want to make, and this is just how they're coming out. We don't know.
What I'd say is that, I think the reason people don't care about non-Sonic Team games is because people still want their Sonic games. So who's going to make their Sonic games if Sonic Team's not making them? So if someone else is making them, then they still get their Sonic. Right. Sonic Team can do what they want, and now that they don't have to rush and hurry it up and create something half-baked, which then makes people go, I don't care about this, go back to making Sonic. It's just a bad kind of vicious cycle that's sort of feeding itself and eating its own tail.
You know
I
what?
think if we could break that up, we could actually get something,
Something cool and
good
different.
for
And,
everyone.
what would be really, and I can see this already. Let's hypothetically, because I know this fan base would do it. We would get a new developer working on Sonic, and they'd crank out the game, and it comes out, and then there would be some subset of people who looks at the game and goes, "I miss when Sonic Team made it," and then we're back to square one.
That's okay.
But
Nah.
it is okay. I can see it.
Lou will be playing Sonic Forces live on Sunday to benefit the Extra Life charity. Your donation puts you in the running for an autographed Sonic IDW poster from Aaron Weber, Joe Hughes, and more. That again will be Sunday here on Twitch and Mixer. To other news, Sonic Mania lovers will have another chance to support the series through the release of a new remix album on Tuesday. It's called the Sonic Mania Remixed album. The 11-track work released through Tiny Waves includes a couple notable community artists, including Ben Briggs and James Landino of the Sonic Before the Sequel series. It's $10, and the tracks were remixed with Sega's permission. And tomorrow, the Season 2 finale of Sonic Boom will air. It's a two-parter, and it sees Eggman creating a video game as well as a lead-up to another classic Sonic vs. Shadow battle. The finale airs at 6 o'clock on Cartoon Network, and you can read Donnie's impressions of the final right now on TSSZnews.com. Again, that is at TSSZnews.com. You can read Donnie's impressions right now. There is some good news on the Forces front, and it largely has to do with its mobile component. Sonic Forces Speed Battle currently has a top rating on the iOS App Store. After just a week of wide availability, it'll be out on Android next week. And ahead of that, I spoke to the game's producer Andrew McMillan of HARDlight Studios and talk about what it takes to adapt a console title for the smaller screen, I should say, and also asked about why they have a co-developer credit on Force's PC version. Alright, Andrew McMillan, welcome to the final. You are the producer at HARDlight Studios, and we're very excited to have you today to talk about Sonic Forces Speed Battle.
Thanks for having me, Tristan. Good to be here.
So, I've played it. You have the #1 adventure title right now on the App Store, and that's a pretty nice feat. I mean, it's only been officially out about a week. It downloaded a ton of times. You have a nice rating, 4.6 out of 5. You know, just a gut check. How do you feel about it right now? You feel pretty good about how it's doing so far?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, like you say, the ratings are good. People are giving it a really good reception. It's nice to have, your hard work pay off quite as nicely. We were excited about the title in the studio. We've been playing it ourselves loads, not just from a development point of view, but also from a kind of a fun point of view, playing it against each other in the studio. So, but you never know, game development, you never know. You think you love it and you think it's good, and then it gets out there and there's always that panic that people are going to go, no, this is no good. But we love it, and we're really happy that other people do.
And it does play very well. I've played it the past week, and I like it a lot. So tell me a little bit about the process of developing a tie-in, because, I mean, you've had Sonic Dash, you've had Sonic Jump, you've had a couple other titles, but this is the first one, I think, where you've done a really direct tie-in to a current game in the console version of Sonic Forces. I mean, how do you do that, especially when it relates to mobile, or how much or how little do you have to follow the source material in that respect?
Yeah, so it was an interesting one. The plan was always to kind of produce both titles to suit the platforms that they're on. So obviously Sonic Forces is a single player game, and you've got those beautiful environments and crazy fast-paced action, whereas on the mobile the plan was always to go with a multiplayer centric competitive game. But at the heart, they share the same, they're in the same universe. And we have to keep, we're using the same characters, the similar environments. So yeah, really it was just about getting the best kind of mobile experience we could, but obviously stay as true to the other games as we can, or to the other game as we can.
So how much input did Sega and Sonic Team have in this title's development? I mean, I imagine you're passing notes back and forth, builds, things like that.
Yeah, so we work very closely with Izuka-san. He signs off all of the artwork, all of the environments, and he has a hand in a lot of the game kind of development. So it's a close working relationship without being too restrictive. So we've still got lots of control, and obviously HARDlight being mobile experts, it's we bring a lot to the table for that. So we work closely with those guys.
So by my count, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the 5th Sonic-related mobile title that HARDlight has been involved in, and this is the 3rd one involving running. So how do you guys sort of keep that very basic gameplay formula fresh with each new title, and especially in this new one?
So, yeah, it's an interesting question. Really, obviously Dash was a hugely successful title. The gameplay mechanics were great. It looked great, but it was a single player title mainly. So with Boom, the next iteration was to keep that gameplay, but obviously with live ops and the mobile platform, you can look at gameplay behaviors, how players play the game, what players are liking from the community, as well as what people are going to in the game. All the time, what parts of the game are really successful. So we took those things and we tried to improve upon them for Boom, but we also increased the kind of community side of things. So there were more events, there were leaderboards, so the competitive aspect started to really blossom at that point. And then obviously with Speed Battle, we went full multiplayer, so you can now race against other players in synchronous, and that was really just following the technology. So obviously with Dash we were restricted, there wasn't that kind of ability to go mobile multiplayer, whereas now we can go fully there, and it's the technology is available to us, and with the tech where it is, we've got a lot of options for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So take us a little bit through Speed Battle's sort of development process. I mean, there's a lot of aspects in here, not just the multiplayer. You have the victory chest, sort of the level up system. You have, at the moment, 15 characters, and I even saw on Twitter this week you're kind of hinting at potentially a little more. And you have the competitive play as well. It's a really interesting balance between skill and luck to succeed in this game. How did you get to that point?
Yeah, so we've got a really, really strong team of designers that are constantly looking, or were through the development of the game, looking at the best way to make the game both accessible to kind of less hardcore players, like the people that just want to come in, have a couple of races and head off, but then also make it complex and competitive enough for the really hardcore players, the guys that we're seeing in the community now that are, on the Discord channels and talking about the top end leaderboard tiers and that kind of stuff. So we're always trying to stay true to both types of players. So the progression system is both accessible but also complex enough that it's fun at those top levels, or hopefully is. And obviously, like coming back to what you were saying about the fact that there's hinting new characters, the benefit of being on mobile is that we can continue to develop the game and continue to add new content, and we've got plans for new things, new big features, new big gameplay mechanics and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're really trying to focus on both sides, the committed hardcore players and the less hardcore kind of relaxed, drop in, have a couple of races during the day and then drop back out again kind of players.
It's a really nice balance. So this game is known as free to play. You can, play it for free. I mean, there are obviously things to purchase and things like that. There are plenty of opportunities for that and to remove the ads and things like that. Mm-hmm. You obviously have some competition in that respect now. There are thousands of developers doing just what HARDlight does, and I want to single one out, and that's Nintendo, because they recently dropped their toes into mobile with Super Mario Run. Their model was different. Mm-hmm. They had no ads, but they offered a couple of levels for free, and then they basically asked for $10 for the rest of them. Now, they had a conference call recently, or they did some quarterly results, and they said, it racked up about 200 million downloads, but they said the profit margins to that point for Super Mario Run in their view were, quote, unacceptable. So my question to you is free-to-play, in your view, kind of the way forward with mobile gaming? Is the model that Speed Battle, Dash, the other titles that you produce, it's dominated your studio's roster. It has dominated mobile gaming. Is it because consumers expect that now, or is it really, in your view, from the developer standpoint, the tried and true, superior and preferred way to get a product out?
To be honest, the answer really depends on the studio or the publisher. Obviously, at HARDlight, we've had some real success. Sonic Dash had over 300 million downloads. So that's a model that we're very used to. We have experts here that have dealt with that model in the past, and are super experienced in that. It doesn't mean to say we won't release a premium, game in the future. If or use any other model, really. We keep our eyes open. We're always exploring possible opportunities.
Okay, so there have been some reports circulating that HARDlight had a hand in the console version of Sonic Forces. HARDlight is even listed as a developer on the Steam page for Forces. I wonder if you could explain the studio's role there, if there was one.
Yeah, so we've been working on all of the PC specifics. So making sure the controllers work with the game, it can run with unlocked frame rate, and it can run as fast as any PC can handle. So even with things like multiple monitor and ultra high resolution configurations, and this allows PC players to get the best experience possible for the rig they're on. So we have done some work here, yeah.
Well, that's neat. We certainly didn't know about that detail about the PC version of Sonic Forces. So let's talk about the other things maybe you'd like to do for HARDlight. In addition to Sonic, you've worked on a Crazy Taxi title, or the studio has, and you have the resources of Sega at your disposal. And given those ties and given that ownership, is there a dream Sega IP that you'd like to work on, that you'd like the studio to work on? Or, do you think that you've sort of done all you can do with the major IPs of Sega?
Well, I don't think there's ever a stage where we could say we've done all that we can do. I'm a pretty hardcore Sega fan. I grew up playing the Master System and the Mega Drive or the Genesis, in the States. I'd love to see something like, I don't know, Outrun for mobile. I think that would be awesome, personally. Obviously, we've got all the Sega Forever titles, so I've been playing, Kid Chameleon again on my mobile, and all of those older titles emulated through the Sega Forever side. But yeah, I think there's lots of opportunities. I think it's interesting. For me personally, it would be interesting to go back to some of those titles and reimagine them for mobile. So different control mechanisms. That's why it's great with Dash and Boom and Speed Battles, because the runner genre is so well matched to the control mechanism of a mobile. So I'd be really interested to see what we could do with some of the older Sega titles, to be honest.
Outrun would be fantastic, I think, because
Definitely.
it is one of Sega's classic titles, and you don't see a lot of racing games just in general anymore. It's kind of gone away. There's still some arcades around here, and you see like one Daytona cabinet, but Outrun is so rare and it's so underutilized in this era.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So you talked about being really an avid Sega fan. So what's your favorite Sonic game? And I wonder if that influenced Speed Battle any.
Personally, my favourite has got to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I remember playing that as a kid, and that moment where you went supersonic just blew my mind, to be honest. I love that game.
Sonic 2, yeah, that's a good one. Mine's probably Sonic CD. Everybody has their own.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
yeah.
It's a nice thing. So so Sonic 2, any sort of influence on Battle or that, or just it's. How are you taking that past and sort of applying it to that current project, that past fanaticism, I guess?
Yeah, we've got some really, really heavy fanboys in the office, especially for Sonic. So there's always going to be influences and things bleeding in, especially when you're creating the zones like the Green Hill Zone areas that we've got in the game and that kind of thing. So we're always trying to do as much service to the older games as possible and to the Sonic universe as possible. So yeah, it definitely bleeds in. It definitely does.
So finally, I want to draw attention back to an interview that was published 5 years ago when HARDlight was kind of in its infancy, and it was said that, HARDlight effectively sort of fit the definition of a boutique studio, even if, at the time that term wasn't really preferred. In your time there at HARDlight, does it still kind of fit that boutique-ish mold, or would you say that HARDlight as a studio and as an, as an arm of Sega has really sort of evolved, and how much do you think HARDlight has evolved under Sega's wing?
It's definitely evolved. I mean, we've grown a lot in experience, a little bit in headcount, so we're still relatively lean, I guess you could say. We're big enough now that we're trying to support our older games as much as possible, as well as looking at new experiences like Speed Battle. So. Yeah, we've definitely, I mean, in answer to your question about evolving, yeah, for sure.
Terrific. Well, Andrew McMillan, we very much appreciate your time. Sonic Forces Speed Battle is out on iOS now, and I believe it'll be out on Android next week, a couple of weeks from now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the 16th, November 16th.
Yeah, terrific. So next week, and so now everybody's going to be able to get a chance to really play the mobile component of Sonic Forces, and we thank you for your time here on The Final.
You're most welcome. Thanks very much, Justin.
And you can read Lou's review of Sonic Forces Speed Battle right now at TSSZnews.com. Finally, I have the final word tonight, mostly to say that there is no final word tonight. So many fans have said so much about Sonic Forces this week, and it just confirms what I said late last week, that this game will be the most polarizing Sonic title and Sonic experience in years. Though I cringe to refer to the Sonic cycle, we have come full circle indeed, returning to an environment where opposing viewpoints are hotly and occasionally violently contested. Case in point, what you see right on the screen now. Earlier this week, a random Twitter troll openly threatened the safety of YouTuber Some Call Me Johnny over a planned review of Sonic Forces. The offending tweet was deleted, but, of course, screen capped, and John took it in stride, saying, quote, "If my opinions about fictional blue hedgehogs upsets you personally, grow up." His review of Forces dropped earlier tonight. So maybe for the moment it's best maybe to just not have opinions, as the worst of this community has shown it can't handle them. Perhaps with some more civility we can try again next week. And with that, that's the final, and now you are finally up to date. Remember, Lou will be streaming Sonic Forces live. It will be his first playthrough, and that'll be on Sunday. We'll give you the time, and as soon as we get it confirmed on our end, you can donate as part of the stream to benefit the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, the Extra Life charity. And also, you can join me at this time next week as well. Good night, and good luck.